Now, there are more than a few YouTube channels that claim to be concerned about men. Unfortunately, most of them are aggressively anti-feminist, and they just spend their time scapegoating and blaming women for everything. It is a really bad scene. My new channel will be an alternative to that growing trend.
I can't believe it. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I am blown the fuck away. This came as a complete utter surprise. I'm really, to an extent, speechless that Jonathan Mcintosh, my Lord and Savior, decided to put a clip of me in one of his videos as someone who blames women for everything. And you know, here's the thing, Josh. And for those of you who don't know who Josh Mcintosh is the script writer of Anita Sarkeesian's content. He writes all of her scripts and stuff. I made a few videos responses to him on my channel here. But I'm really blown away at the fact that he actually showed some of the people who he's quote-unquote blaming, that blame all women for everything. Please, you know, clearly you do watch my videos, and I would like to challenge you, Jonathan Mcintosh, is to show me in my own videos where I have blamed women for everything. Because I don't like having people say things about me which is not true. And that is definitely one of those things where I blame women for everything. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Jonathan Mcintosh, but the reason I even make responses to your waifu or girlfriend, Anita Sarkeesian, is not because I hate women, not because I hate men, but because Anita Sarkeesian doesn't speak for all women. And I know plenty of women in my personal life and on the internet, and there's been plenty of video responses from women themselves responding to Anita's bullshit on how they are told they need to feel about how they are represented in video games. Jonathan Mcintosh's new video series, called The Pop Culture Detective Agency, is him examining male masculinity in the forms of media. And he doesn't really go into a whole lot of he's just talking about his series, like an intro video, but it's odd for that his intro videos including TJ, me, Thunderfoot, and this other guy. And I'm curious that if further along in his videos, if he's going to actually reference me or use video clips of mine. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, I don't know. But if he does, I'm very excited to see what he has in store, because, again, this completely blew my mind, simply because last year, Anita Sarkeesian tweeted out a photo of several users, you can see it right here, I think that's it, where she says, like, these people are harassers of her, these people are terrible, terrible people. Because apparently making a YouTube video about someone's disagreeing with somebody on the content of feminism or how women are represented in video games, that means that I'm clearly someone who harasses somebody else. Like, I purposely go out of my way to send tweets and things to Anita, which I don't. If I recall correctly, Anita, you're the one who reported me to the goddamn FBI when it wasn't even fucking me. Then I sent you like a 9-paragraph big old email after the incident occurred, and the FBI visited me and asked me, did you send a bomb threat to kill Anita Sarkeesian? I'm like, no. And you never replied to that, which was quite shameful, considering that you reported someone falsely when they just signed my name, which is how easy to do. You couldn't reach out to me or anything like that. But I mean, why would you, of course, because I blame women for everything, right? But his video series is examining male masculinity in media, which I'm actually really curious to see. Like, I'm gonna watch this, even though it's Jonathan Mcintosh, because the men are very misrepresented in the media, especially in video games. In fact, that's one of my biggest points I would always bring up in my video game stuff about Anita, is that, you know, women not objectified, but women who were like sexualized, right, with like big tits, big ass, whatever it be, and then men were also sexualized in the same manner with their big bodies, gigantic muscles, in the same way that women were represented. And Anita never would really ever cover that. And now Jonathan Mcintosh is supposedly going to be covering how men are portrayed in media, which would include video games. And I'm really curious to see how this plays out, because there is a lot of anti-masculine messages that is sent through the media towards men, like, don't cry, don't be emotional, don't be kind, be tough and buff. Like, those are real, true things that are said to men, that we shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't have emotions. We shouldn't cry. We shouldn't feel love. We shouldn't care about things. We should just be rough, tough, and buff. So on that extent of male masculinity, I do agree that it's not a healthy way, and that can be very damaging to how to men's self-esteem and how they are portrayed in real life situations through the media. So again, I'm curious to see this, but I'm making a response to this because I'm shocked that he would actually reference me and say that, I'm blaming all women. For what exactly, I don't know, because I don't recall me ever blaming women for anything in my response to Anita Sarkeesian, other than bringing up issues, arguments against how women are perceived in video games. Because I don't see a problem with how a woman is represented in a video game. I don't see a problem with how men are represented in a video game, even if it is over the top, sexualized, whatever it be. It is a video game, and those video games have shown that they don't have real life effects on my daily life. Like seeing a video game character with big abs, that doesn't really have an effect on me. I don't think it has a negative effect on how women see themselves. Like, oh my god, I don't have a big enough butt as that Bayonetta character. I wish I could get sexualized as much as Bayonetta in that video game. I don't think they have real life implications on the real world. But it's like the whole issue of like gun violence. And I'm comparing gun violence to, how women are perceived in video games. But there's no evidence to link that gun violence is increased through playing games like Grand Theft Auto. That sexualizing women is somehow increased, or objectifying women and making them out to be sex objects is linked to people playing video game characters where females are not represented in the way that Jonathan Mcintosh and Anita think they should be. Anyways, so this was kind of my sudden on-the-spot response, because you guys sent me an influx of tweets saying that this person referenced me, and I woke up this morning and I was like, what is happening? Like, Jonathan Mcintosh referenced me in a video, and lo and behold, clearly he did. So I'm looking forward to your series, Jonathan Mcintosh. I don't know if I'm actually going to respond to your series or not, because I have no idea what the content you're going to say. If it's anything, well, you said at the end of your video, you say this.
Have you ever read an article about sexism in the media and then made the horrible mistake of scrolling down into the comment section? Because if you have, then you've seen someone trying to derail that conversation with demands of, what about the men? Now, the last thing the guys who are making that demand really want to do is have a serious discussion about the sometimes harmful ways that media represents masculinity. And they especially don't want to have that conversation if it's inspired by feminism. The critical analysis that I'll be using is very much inspired by feminist theory. It's through that lens that I'll be looking at the ways that boys and men are harmed as a byproduct of hypermasculinity.
So right there, that's kind of a red flag for me, but I consider myself an open-minded person, and I will hear what you have to say before I completely judge it. Unlike yourself, because clearly I blame all women, right? Right. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. All my links are linked down below.